Hi, my name is Ricky Gallagher. Thank you for coming to my website. I want to tell you now about a case that I tried recently in Baton Rouge, in the East Baton Rouge Parish. It was a nursing home case, and quite honestly, I'm not sure that it's a case I would have taken at this point in my career, but I took it when I was much younger, and we finally got it to trial. It involved a 99-year-old man in a nursing home. And you know, that's the reason that looking back on it now, I might not have taken it, but it actually turned out okay. My 99-year-old client was obviously not in great health, and he was having swallowing problems. So what the doctors did was they had him in the hospital. They said, this man can't swallow. They did a study. It's called the pharyngogram, where they can look and see that you're having problems swallowing. And if you don't swallow properly, what can happen is fluids or food or whatever you're eating can actually go into your lungs and cause pneumonia, which in someone that's 99 years old is a very serious complication. So they sent this patient, my client, back to the nursing home, and they sent the order that said, don't feed this man anything. It's called NPO, nothing by mouth. So don't feed this man anything. We're going to put a tube down his nose into his stomach so that we can feed him, and as he gets his strength back, and as he's able to swallow better in the future, then we'll think about feeding him after we do another swallowing study. Well, the man's in the nursing home for about 8 days, and for whatever reason, the tube comes out of his nose. The nurses at the nursing home, first they did the right thing. They called the physician's assistant who was in charge of this patient. But she's at home on a Sunday morning. She gets the phone call and she can't quite remember all the details about this patient. So she asks the nursing home nurses, is there a pharyngogram in the record, or is there some indication that this patient can't swallow properly? The nursing home nurses told the physician's assistant no. And unfortunately, that was incorrect. Through our investigation, we uncovered 3 places in the record where the nursing home nurses could have seen that this man could not swallow. The pharyngogram, that swallowing study that came from the hospital, the nursing assistant, the physician's assistant also recorded that this man couldn't swallow properly. And then there was one other notation in the record that he couldn't swallow. But unfortunately, the nursing home nurses did not take the time to properly look through the record to find out whether this man could swallow. Well, based upon this bad information, the physician's assistant actually ordered that he be fed grits. And within 6 hours of being fed grits, he couldn't breathe properly. His oxygen saturation levels, that's the amount of oxygen that's in his blood, dropped to a dangerously low level. So they had to rush him to the hospital. And at the hospital, he showed signs and was diagnosed as having aspirational pneumonia. Aspirational pneumonia means that you aspirated, which means things in your mouth, instead of going into your stomach, went into your lungs. So aspirational pneumonia means food got into your lungs and caused pneumonia. Unfortunately, in this case, this man passed away within 8 days of being admitted to the hospital. Now, I mentioned that I tried it recently, and really I was concerned, I'll be quite honest, that the jury would look at the man's age, 99 years old, and say he wasn't going to live much longer anyway. But the way we approached it with the jury, and I think it was the right way to approach it, is, yes, he wasn't going to live forever, and yes, maybe he didn't have long to go. But what I told the jury was that this was not a case about the suffering of the children. Although they suffered, that was probably something that was coming soon anyway with a 99-year-old father, and he was very sick, so the relationship wasn't the best because of his illness. What that case was about, I explained to the jury, is that everybody has a way that they should die, and there's a right way to go, and there's a wrong way to go. And what this nursing home did was, they allowed this man to suffer pneumonia, which meant that fluid built up in his lungs, which meant over an 8-day period of time, he slowly suffocated to death, and that this was the wrong way to go. Now, of course, the case was much more complicated than this. The other side had defenses, but at the end of the day, the jury agreed with me. The jury decided, yeah, this wasn't right. This nursing home's at fault, and they awarded me pretty significant damages for this type of a case. So, thank you very much for your time. I hope that explained one little area of law and an example of a medical malpractice case. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to call me at the numbers below. You can also go to my website, www.gallagherlawfirm.com. You can shoot me an email there or contact me any way you want. but I look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you.